Welcome back to another video. Welcome if you are new here. Welcome to my channel. My name is Justyna. Welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back and thank you for joining me today. So here it might come as a surprise here, this video. It's been a while since I uploaded anything of a longer video on this channel, but I was forced actually into taking a break, and here I had some health problems, which I've thankfully fully recovered from. So I'm really excited to connect with you again. And I thought to this new moon and here the upcoming new astrological year that starts on the 20th of March would be a good time for me to re-emerge. And we are still in Mercury retrograde as well, so it kind of fits in astrologically speaking. So thank you very much to those who are still here with me. And right, so we will dive into the horoscopes for this upcoming new moon. I'll first give you a little overview with the new moon chart, and then we'll look at the interpretation for each sign. I've got also your monthly horoscopes. They are almost fully edited, so they will also come out at some point this week. So thank you so much again for your patience, and let's see what the upcoming new moon in Pisces has in store for you. All right, so as you can see here, we've got the chart for the upcoming new moon happening in the sign of Pisces on March the 19th at 28 degrees. So this is a really interesting lunation. In many ways, it feels like a threshold moment, and I'll explain in a moment why. So first of all, a new moon occurs when the sun and the moon meet in the same sign at the same degree. So traditionally speaking, this is the beginning of a new lunar cycle. So here, this new moon will take place at 28 degrees of Pisces, which is a very late degree, the last sign of the zodiac. So symbolically, we are standing right at the end of the astrological year. And this is because the day after this new moon is exact, we are going to begin the new astrological year on March 20th. So even though technically this is a new moon, which is connected to new beginnings, it also carries the symbolism of completion and transition, really. So we could feel like we're stepping into something new, a new chapter. Now, to understand this lunation better, we're going to look at the symbolism of Pisces itself. So Pisces is a mutable water sign, which also means that it tends to dissolve, soften, transition things rather than initiate something concrete. Now, in traditional astrology, Pisces is often associated with places where things are hidden, submerged, or slowly dissolving. For example, Pisces can symbolize environments like hospitals or healing spaces, monasteries, retreats, healing, spiritual retreats, places where people withdraw from the world for a period of time. So when we see a new moon in Pisces, it often coincides with moments where something in life is coming to an end, coming to completion. Not dramatically, but step by step, gradually. Now, another important factor of this new moon is the fact that Mercury will turn direct the day after this new moon. And when Mercury stations direct, this is a forward movement, a forward momentum, because during Mercury retrograde, communication and decisions can feel slow and very often delayed. So during this new moon, we might still feel like some things are not clear, but thankfully clarity will likely return shortly after. So something that has been generally confusing or difficult to understand may start to make more sense in the days following this new moon, so after the 19th. Now, another important element of this chart is the fact that the new moon is also in a very close proximity to its modern ruler, Neptune, which is now Aries. So technically, this is an out-of-sign conjunction because the moon is still in Pisces, while Neptune has already moved into Aries back in January, end of January. But the connection is still very tight. So what this means is that something might be ending, but what comes next is not fully visible yet. And this can feel like standing between two different realities. One chapter seems to be dissolving, but the next one is still unclear, it's still forming. Now, finally, this new moon also forms a beautiful sextile, harmonious energy to Uranus in Taurus, and Uranus is the planet associated with sudden changes, awakenings, breakthroughs. Uranus is at 28 degrees of Taurus, and because this is a sextile, it can bring opportunities rather than distractions. So even while something dissolves, there might be also some unexpected news, opportunities that may come away. So as you can see, there's a little bit of that fresh energy and then the energy of culmination. And it could manifest as situations, certain situations reaching completion or something gradually fading, moving away from our lives. It could be also when things that felt confusing will start to make more sense. For some, this new moon could also bring some unexpected opportunities here of the sextile to Uranus. And at the same time, there is this feeling that something fresh, something new is coming, is on the horizon, as here we are about to also begin Aries season. So in many ways, this lunation feels like the final breath before we start this brand new astrological year. So let's have a look how this new moon will manifest for each rising sign, depending on where Pisces energy falls in your birth chart. Here, these interpretations are most accurate for your rising sign. However, you can also watch them for your moon sign or your sun sign just to get a bigger picture and a wider perspective upon your life. So thank you very much. And let's begin. Hello, Aries, and welcome to your new moon in Pisces horoscope. So here, this new moon will take place in your 12th house. The 12th house is the house of hidden matters, anything to do with the private aspects of our life, of our psyche, of our personality, any addictions, habits, phobias, fears. This is the house of behind the scenes work. So things are often hidden, and it's a great time for working from behind the scenes, for dealing with the private aspects of life. You might feel drained around this time as you prepare for Aries season to begin, usually when the sun transits the 12th house in our birth chart or the sign before our ascendant. This tends to make us go within, withdraw. And generally here, of course, you've got the sun in the 12th house, yes. So what this means is that you need time alone, you need time to recharge yourself. So definitely prioritize wellness, your well-being, yourself during this time, because you need this. You need your energy for Aries season, because let me tell you, Aries season is really, really busy. There's a lot going on during this time. At this point, you, of course, yes, because Mars will be moving into Aries as well on the 9th. So Mars is in your 12th house. So yes, lots of introspective energy here. For you, Mercury retrograde, almost about to turn direct at this point as well. It's a late degree of this new moon. So it also indicates that something is coming to an end with the late degree of Pisces new moon. And also this is happening the day before the new astrological year. Mercury is about to turn direct as well. So generally, while you are stepping away from a certain chapter, idea in your life, you are preparing for something new, something that isn't fully clear, because this new moon forms an out of sign conjunction with Neptune, which is the modern ruler of Pisces, yes. So basically, this could feel like a new version of you is emerging. You've got Saturn and Neptune in your first house. Much more energies will come in April as well, like Mercury and Mars. And of course, the sun on the 20th. So at this point, you might feel like something is starting, something is emerging, a new version of yourself, maybe a new idea, a new goal, whatever it is. It's not fully clear. You can't fully define it yet. But at the same time, during this time, you might feel more receptive to external influences, energies. Protect your energies. That's why having this time alone during 12th house, new moons, full moons, transits, is essential to gain more clarity about what's really happening in our lives, to process our feelings, our emotions as well. So you might feel pulled into a new direction, but at this point, you might not fully understand where this chapter is taking you. Mercury will turn direct the day after. Then on the 15th of April, it will move into your first house. So you will fully move away from a phase that may have felt slightly mentally draining, especially Mercury retrograde in the 12th house for you throughout the majority of March. We've got a sextile to Uranus as well, which might bring an unexpected financial opportunity, solution, maybe practical solution to something that you're dealing with. All right, so that's what I've got for you today. Thank you so much, Taurus. And Aries. Let's move to Taurus now. Taurus, welcome to your new moon in Pisces horoscope. So this new moon falls in your 11th house. The 11th house deals with anything to do with friendships, groups that we belong to. But here we've got Pisces energy, which is connected to art, creativity, of course, dream world and spirituality. But with Pisces on the 11th house here, this often is connected to being drawn into communities like spiritual circles, artistic communities, friendships generally that have this emotional foundation, that are built on emotional foundation resonance rather than some rigid structure. So here, this new moon could see you perhaps joining this sort of group, maybe getting involved in some charity group, but at the same time, what's not aligned, what's misaligned is also dissolving. You had Mercury retrograde here for the majority of the month, so this could have also brought some ideas and realizations about this area of your life. But at the same time, here, this energy could also make you think who truly belongs in your reality, in your circle, and who doesn't. We've got Mercury turning direct on the 20th of March. Mercury could bring more clarity. It could help you to clarify certain conversations, maybe with some friends, acquaintances, for instance. Uranus sextile could bring some expected opportunities that could help you to get closer to your dreams, to your goals. Maybe some shifts in your social direction, for example, social circles, as well as some surprising news opportunities may come through friends, for instance. Those especially that could kind of influence your direction because Uranus is still in your first house. So thank you so much, Taurus, and let's have a look at Geminis. Hello, Geminis, and welcome to your new moon in Pisces Horoscope. So here we've got the 10th house activated this time around for you. And of course, as I mentioned in the initial part of this video, this new moon happens at a very late degree of a new moon. So it's got that flavor of something coming to an end while something else is emerging. We don't yet know what it is because we've got the late degree of the new moon. Mercury is still retrograde, about to turn direct the day after this new moon is exact. And of course, we also have the new astrological year starting on the 20th, the day after this new moon, and the out of sign conjunction with Neptune in Aries. So here at the 10th house and new moons, yes, this is about your career, your public life, your outside visibility, your career direction, your career achievements as well. But at the same time, this could be connected to a situation at your work, in your public life, that it's kind of gradually fading away. It could manifest as basically that feeling that you're moving into something different, something new, something is shifting, but you can't define it yet fully. For those of you who are starting a new career here with the Pisces energy, we are still in the Pisces Virgo eclipse cycle until early 2027. So these shifts are still in place in these areas of life. So here, maybe you're starting a new career, something to do with healing, something to do with art, film, for example, charity work or institutions of some kind. So generally here with Neptune being so close to this new moon, generally the future direction isn't fully understood or fully clear or fully visible yet. Generally clarity will likely return after the 20th when Mercury stations direct, especially regarding some major career decisions you might be making or any goals, objectives you might be setting for yourself, for your career life. Overall, we've got a sextile to Uranus in Taurus as well in your 12th house. So this could be connected to some unexpected developments, surprises, things taking a different turn from behind the scene, maybe some ideas as well. Could be very much the case. As you can see, it feels like something is ending, but you might not yet understand what is starting here, which direction you're heading. You might not be able to see a bigger picture. There is that shift of energy in the career sphere, but generally plans or generally that vision of what is about to emerge might not be fully clear yet. But yes, there is a shift of energy happening in your career area. Something fresh, something new is slowly emerging. Thank you so much, Geminis. Now, Cancers, welcome to your new moon in Pisces Horoscopes. This new moon falls in your 9th house. The 9th house deals with anything to do with opportunities that can help us to broaden our horizons, our wisdom, anything to do with foreign travel, foreign people, higher education, learning, our beliefs, our life philosophy. So with the new moon being at such late degree, forming an out of sign conjunction with Neptune, this could feel like you are kind of moving into a different chapter in your life. Something is closing. Maybe your beliefs are changing, your worldviews. Maybe you're experiencing some shifts in the area of education or some legal matters you're currently dealing with. So whatever the scenario, for many this could manifest as some different perspectives on certain aspects of your life, of your reality. Perhaps you are moving away from something that didn't serve you, something that stopped growth and development, and you're moving into this next chapter of your life, but things are not fully clear yet. You don't have a full picture of the direction that you're heading. The ninth house deals with our life purpose as well. Career is also connected to teaching, coaching, guiding, especially when it comes to something to do with retreat, spirituality, especially with that under the Pisces influence. So overall here, for those who are thinking about their educational journey or perhaps some travel, anything to do with travel, even careers related to travel, things might still be kind of loosely planned or defined. And there is an element of uncertainty here of this new moon. But because Mercury is also retrograde, it's going to station direct the day after this new moon is exact. So that on the 20th, which is also the day when we start the new astrological year. But at the same time, with Mercury turning direct, clarity is likely to return after the 20th. Especially, it would be a better time to make any important decisions, deal with some important paperwork after the 20th of March. But we also have a sextile to Uranus in Taurus, which could bring some unexpected opportunities through your friends, through your networks, through, for example, people who live abroad as per the symbolism of the planets involved and signs. So thank you so much. And let's have a look at Leos. Leos, welcome to your new moon in Pisces horoscope. So this new moon activates your 8th house, and the 8th house is the house of transformation, deep energies, profound emotions and feelings. This is also the area of shared and joint resources, inheritance, emotional and financial entanglements as well. So generally, we've got a conjunction, an out of sign conjunction with Neptune in Aries. We have a sextile to you, still retrograde. So something is dissolving in this area of your life and changing in form and shape. But here, there's also that element of uncertainty. The 8th house is also associated with deep connections, partnerships. If you're involved in any financial connections, partnerships, business partnerships, for example, this new moon could make you think about where you like kind of a full picture, full understanding of certain financial agreements, financial transactions, for example, as well. Here, the issue of boundaries comes into light. But at the same time, with the out of sign conjunction with Neptune in Aries, this could also indicate that perhaps while some financial, emotional situations might be coming to an end, whatever comes next is not fully clear, not fully understood yet. So this isn't a time to assume that everything is solid, that everything has a solid foundation, form and shape. This is a time to be realistic, but also make sure that you verify information, that you verify any statements, documents you'll be dealing with. If you have to sign anything, try to do it after the 20th because Mercury turns direct in Pisces on the 20th. This will also help you to have more clarity, see the bigger picture, especially when it comes to some paperwork, discussions around money that is not connected to your income, but to perhaps some investments, to your mortgage, to some bonuses, for example, or some returns, refunds, this sort of things. We've got a sextile to Uranus as well, which could bring some unexpected opportunities, developments, news, especially here, maybe in your career, it's happening in your career, it's being activated in your career. So maybe some news opportunities connected to your career, maybe some financial opportunities could emerge as well as a result of this sextile. So thank you so much, Leos, and let's have a look at Virgos. Hello, Virgos, and welcome to your new moon in Pisces horoscope. So here, this new moon falls in your 7th house. So here, the 7th house and the 1st house have been quite active for you since September 2024, especially, but even since March 2023, when Saturn entered this area of your life. Then you had the eclipses that started in September 2024. So it's been a really dynamic, I would say, area of life over the last 3 years. So here with a new moon, maybe finally something new, something different, something you've been waiting for or looking forward to. Here, generally with the late degree of this new moon, which is the 28th degree, as I mentioned earlier, something is fading away here. Something's coming to an end, closure. You're in the phase of a kind of a transition into a new chapter. The reason for that is because, of course, we've got the late degree of the new moon here, the 28th degree, but also new moons bring those beginnings, new beginnings. We've got that energy of culmination. We are also the day before a new astrological year that begins on the 20th of March. On the 19th, this is when the new moon is taking place. So it's mixed energies. On the one hand, something is kind of dissolving. You feel like you're moving into a different chapter in the area of relationships. And at the same time, you're not fully sure what's perhaps the bigger picture of the chapter you're entering. And perhaps things feel less clear, less defined. However, Mercury stations direct on the 20th of March. So clarity will return without a doubt here in your 7th house. But at the same time, Pisces here brings a lot of emotional, compassionate, sensitive energy. Now, with the 7th house, Pisces, I've spoken to a lot of Virgos throughout my astrology career. And one of the issues of this placement, there are a lot of beautiful, beautiful energies. But here, something that may come up to the surface is the issue of boundaries. Because with Pisces on the 7th house cusp, here that those boundaries are not always in place. It's one of the big lessons for Virgos or for those with Neptune in the 7th house. Of course, you had Saturn here for 3 years. Saturn is now in Aries, so you've learned your lessons, I'm sure. But for those who haven't here, any weak boundaries will become more prominent and visible during this time. Now here with an out-of-sign conjunction with Neptune, the modern ruler of this new moon, it might feel like a chapter in your important connection is ending, but at the same time, the next chapter isn't yet fully clear. And at the same time, perhaps it might be that you feel like you're getting wrong signals from the other person, or you can't fully read their emotions, their feelings. It doesn't have to be related to your marriage or to your relationship. It could also be connected to your friendship. It could be connected to your client relationship. Maybe you finished a 6 weeks coaching session. They signed up for the next round, but you're not yet sure what their expectations are. And you don't have a full clarity yet. Now, at the same time, with Pisces energy being highlighted here, very often there is a need for a soul-like connection, a deep connection, profound energies as well. So if this isn't achieved, you might feel this increased desire for a more spiritual and a deeper connection rather than a connection that is generally very practical. Now, Mercury, your chart ruler, stations direct in Pisces on the 20th, so the day after this new moon. So this will also help with clarifying anything that perhaps was vague or unclear in conversations, in communication. And at the same time, any conversations that were overdue or delayed, they will also gain their momentum. Uranus sextile this new moon. So here, this could be connected to some surprising news, maybe some future plans or a foreign trip that you might be planning as well with someone special. Thank you so much, Virgos. Now let's have a look at Libras. Libras, welcome to your new moon in Pisces horoscope. So this new moon activates your 6th house. The 6th house deals with your daily life, your health, your everyday reality, your work environment. So here, this could be connected to some shifts taking place in your work sphere. Maybe your routine is changing. Maybe you have a need or a desire to change your lifestyle as well, or your health routine. So whatever it is, something new is emerging, but you might not yet know what it is. You might yet not know how to structure it, especially since Mercury is retrograde still at this point. We've got an out-of-sign conjunction with Neptune in Aries. Yes, and I keep thinking Pisces, but now it's Neptune in Aries. So here, generally, things are not fully clear, fully defined at this point. Maybe you're thinking about a new career, a new job, something to do with healing, or maybe a healing profession, for example. Maybe you're feeling drained or exhausted of your work environment, of how things are done on a daily basis. Maybe your routine feels out of place and vague. So here, this new moon is kind of pushing you to take a deeper look at what's working and what isn't in your daily reality, what's sustainable and what is no longer sustainable. All right, so at the same time, watch out for any confusions or perhaps mixed signals, especially at your work, or perhaps tendencies like overcommitting, overextending oneself here. This could be very much prominent around this time with that Mercury retrograde out of sign conjunction with Neptune as well. And of course, Pisces energy. But Mercury turns direct the day after this new moon, so that's really, really great because it will bring a forward momentum, more clarity, and a better of what you need to do next, especially in connection to your routine, to your work, to your skills, to your health and wellness routine. Uranus may bring some unexpected surprises, developments connected to some investments, anything to do with an element connected to transformation and rebirth of some kind. So thank you so much, Libras. And now Scorpios, welcome, fellow Scorpios. All right, so here the 5th house is activated. The 5th house where Saturn stayed for so long, and of course Neptune for so long that I don't even know what it feels like to have Neptune somewhere else. Of course, now it's in the 6th house, and so is Saturn. But here at this point, we are looking at the new moon in Pisces. So here, the 5th house is connected to anything to do with self-expression, art, creativity, anything to do with children, anything to do with conception, self-expression in an artistic, creative, authentic way, your inner child. So this new moon, there's an element of something coming to an end, a closure with the late degree of the new moon, the 28th degree. But at the same time, with the symbolism itself of the new moon is something new direction, new beginning, fresh direction. So we are kind of ending, something is kind of shifting, dissolving in this area of your life while something else is coming in its place. All right, so basically here, Neptune, I've got an out of sign conjunction with Neptune, and Neptune can bring a lot of inspiration, imagination, but at the same time, it could make it difficult to see things clearly, especially since Mercury is still retrograde at this point in your 5th house in Pisces. It turns direct on the 20th day after this new moon is exact. So something might be ending. It could be a phase, it could be a project of some kind, mutual project. Maybe you're ending an important creative project, maybe something else. But there's this desire for something fresh and different. But at the same time, make sure that you have full clarity. Don't make any assumptions here because they will lead to a disappointment. So it's essential to be realistic, grounded in their reality during this time. But at the same time, Mercury turning direct on the 20th, the day after this new moon, it brings clarity, it brings a forward momentum, especially here in your creative work, in your hobbies, interests, self-expression. But Uranus is also involved. We've got an exact sextile, a very, very tight sextile that could bring some surprising developments, perhaps coming through your clients, perhaps coming through partners, through collaborations, for example. That's the 7th house. Thank you so much. Now, Sagittarius, welcome to your new moon in Pisces horoscope. So here, this new moon falls in your 4th house. The 4th house is the house of our foundations, our sense of belonging, our home, our family dynamics. We've got a late degree of this new moon, 28th degree, in conjunction and out of sign conjunction to Neptune in Aries, sextile to Uranus. Mercury is still retrograde for another day. It turns direct the next day. All right, so basically what it is, something is coming to a closure while something else is emerging. But because of that out of sign conjunction with Neptune, you might not have a full clarity of what is it exactly, what's exactly going on, where this new chapter direction is taking you. Now, Pisces here overall, and this could have been the case, especially with Saturn in Pisces since 2023. Now Saturn is in your 5th house, but here, generally, Pisces, whenever there's activity in Pisces for you, specifically in your 4th house, it could show some issues, water issues in your home. It could make you feel more unsettled at your home. Maybe this is connected to a desire to live closer to a water feature, for example. So overall, yes, there's a new chapter emerging in your area of home, family foundations, anything to do with your family dynamics overall. But here with Neptune's involvement, Mercury retrograde, generally this next chapter at your home is not yet fully clear. Now, at the same time here, whatever plans you make, think strategically and don't make any assumptions during this time. It feels like you're leaving a chapter connected to your home, but the new one hasn't yet fully formed. Now, at the same time, yes, Mercury will turn direct on the 20th, so keep an eye on that date as well, because this could indicate that some home-related, family-related plans will finally gain momentum. They will finally begin to move forward. Uranus forms a sextile to this new moon, and it could bring some unexpected sudden shifts, especially in your work, in your daily life, in your routine, something that could positively affect your home as well. So maybe some positive developments at your work or something to do with your routine that could have a positive impact upon your emotional foundation, your family life overall. So thank you so much. And let's have a look at Capricorns. Capricorns, welcome to your new moon in Pisces Horoscope. So this new moon falls in your third house. The third house deals with messages, communication, your mindset, anything to do with documents, reading, writing, anything to do with mental stimulation, your mindset, your thinking processes, and so on. So here, this new moon is happening at a very late degree of Pisces, which indicates that something in this area of life, in the area of communication, is coming to an end. So this could be about a book you've been writing, a short course of study you've been involved in, for example, some kind of involvement also in your community, maybe a project with your brother, with your sibling, for instance. So whatever it is, make sure that you check all the details, because we've got an out of sign conjunction with Neptune. Mercury is still retrograde at this point. It's very easy to get confused with too many emails. And it's a good time for drafting, but not necessarily for having, for signing things and getting something off the ground, because your plans might take a different turn. It's better to delay these things after the 20th of March, when Mercury is now in a direct motion. It could be really helpful, because Mercury turning direct, especially since it's happening in your third house of your mind, of your intellect, of your communication style overall. So here, Mercury turning direct on the 20th will help you to restore mental clarity. We've got a sextile to Uranus as well, which could bring some unexpected opportunities, maybe a date. For example, it could be something to do with the romantic side of your life, maybe a new client, new project, new work opportunity of some kind, or perhaps an outing or a day out, or some kind of a spontaneous activity with people from your local community. We also have an out of sign conjunction with Neptune and Aries, so watch out for any unclear messages, communications, documents. Generally, if something feels unclear, clarify. Don't rely on any vague promises. Have things written if possible. Thank you so much, Capricorns. And now let's have a look at Aquarius. Aquarius, welcome to your new moon in Pisces Horoscope. This full moon falls in your second house of your income, of your money, financial stability, security, your resources. So this could be connected to some possible shifts taking place in your income situation, maybe at some additional income revenues. Maybe you're restructuring your area of finances, how things are generally, your outgoings, for example. Maybe you're trying to reduce your outgoings overall. Now, the second house, Pisces energy, could be also connected to some kind of creative work, anything to do with any spiritual work, for example. Maybe this could be related to a new project, work, business idea, a gig connected to some kind of creative work or healing work, charity work. We've got an out of sign conjunction with Neptune and Aries as well. So this is also connected to your approach to money is changing, or perhaps you might have this really strong need to budget, to change how you manage your finances on daily, on weekly, monthly basis. Maybe your income, your financial expectations are changing at this time. Now watch out for any vague proposals or transactions. If something is vague or unclear, especially in connection to money around this time, then clarified. Don't make any assumptions. Don't get yourself into some unnecessary schemes, especially if you feel like things seem vague. Mercury will turn direct the day after this new moon is exact, so this is when you will regain that financial clarity you may have lacked throughout the month of March, especially those initial 3 weeks. Uranus connects to this new moon by a beautiful sextile, and Uranus is in your fourth house of home and family foundations for another, I would say another month and 10 days at this point. So here, this could be connected to some unexpected changes happening at your home, maybe some perhaps renovations, perhaps some kind of budget that you may have to dedicate. It could be about some home improvements, perhaps you're budgeting and saving up for some home renovations of some kind. So a situation connected to your home and family dynamics could generally affect your financial situation, your money situation. Now, this is a sextile, so it's not going to be negative or too disruptive. It could be related to some kind of opportunity. Maybe an unexpected situation could turn into something that is a positive development. So thank you so much, Aquarius. And now Pisces, welcome to your new moon in Pisces horoscope. So this is a very important new moon for you, dear Pisces, because it's happening in your first house, in your sign. This is very, very personal, of course. Here we've got the 28th degree, so a late degree of a new moon indicates that something is coming to an end, something is dissolving, shifting away, fading away as per that Pisces symbolism. But at the same time, the new direction isn't yet fully formed. So you might feel like an old version of you is dissolving while a new one is currently being formed. All right, so we've got an out of sign conjunction with Neptune as well. So for this reason, Neptune could bring that confusing energy a little bit, or it could generally make you lack a certain degree of clarity. So perhaps you might have this inner desire to change something, or perhaps to take something off the ground, but things might feel slightly foggy. Maybe your ideas might not have yet full shape and form. So it could feel like an inner excitement, but at the same time, a certain degree of uncertainty or perhaps disorientation. And for example, now here Mercury will turn direct in your sign the day after this new moon. So this is really exciting because Mercury has been retrograde since the 28th of February. It will end its retrograde on the 20th of March. This is when you're going to regain that mental clarity you may have lacked throughout the month of March, especially these first 3 weeks. And at the same time, this new moon forms a beautiful sextile with Uranus in Taurus, still in Taurus, same degree as this new moon, 28 degree. And this could be connected to some unexpected developments, opportunities. So this is happening in your here, Taurus, that's your third house. So maybe some news, some opportunities that could generally also bring more clarity about the way forward for you. So thank you so much, Pisces, and all the best.